Welcome to A State of Mind, Law, Legacy, and Life with Sunny.
Hello and welcome to A State of Mind, Law, Legacy, and Life with Sunny Rickard, Principal Attorney at Rickard Law APC, serving families and business owners across California and abroad. Sunny focuses on international and domestic estate planning, asset protection, and trust administration, helping clients preserve their values, protect what they've built, and plan with peace of mind for the next generation. I'm Kevin Rosenquist, and today we're starting at the beginning. In this episode, Sunny will cover what every family should know before creating an estate plan. Sunny, thanks for being here. Great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, before we get to the topic itself, can you share a little bit about your background and what led you into estate planning and maybe what drew you to help families protect their legacies?
Yeah, of course, Kevin. As an immigrant myself, I actually started my legal career working with families has cross-border issues, things like immigration, building a business here, acquiring property in different countries. And I started noticing a pattern. People were doing amazing things, building businesses, buying homes, raising families. But when it comes to protecting what they have built, many didn't have a plan. Some of them thought it was too early, and others assumed estate planning is only for the wealthy. Then my life kind of shifted dramatically. My dad passed away, and around the same time, I have my second baby. So that period changed everything for me. Suddenly, the estate planning is not theory anymore. It's personal. I saw firsthand, how overwhelming it can be when there's no clear plan, especially in the moment of loss. So I realized estate planning is not about death at all. It's about life, and it's about protecting your loved ones, reducing the stress, and leaving clarity instead of confusion. So that sense of responsibility and the love is what drives me every day. And helping families to find that peace of mind through a thoughtful planning has truly becomes my passion and my purpose.
That's awesome. I love that. And you mentioned that some people often think that estate planning is for the wealthy. You can make the joke like, you think of an estate, you think of some sprawling, big huge estate with a big house and all sorts of land and stuff like that. So people don't think they need that. How do you explain what it really means for an everyday family?
I love the question because it's the biggest myth out there. As you said, that people think state, they think it means you have to have millions of dollars, many, many real properties and investment. But state planning isn't about how much you have. It's about making sure that whatever you do have goes where you want it to go, and to the people you loved and protected. So if you own a car, a bank account, a home, or even you have kids, you already have a state. The question is, do you have a plan for it? To me, state planning is really about care and the clarity. It's about making sure that your loved ones aren't left guessing or fighting over what to do if something happened to you. It's about taking something that could be complicated and emotional and turning it so something is organized, is peaceful, and it's intentional. So I would say for everyday family, the plan could means uh, naming a guardian for your children, protecting a home from the probate, or setting up the trust so things can transfer smoothly. So I like to say that estate planning is not just for the rich; it's for the responsible. It's for the someone that loves someone and wants to make sure their life a little easier, no matter what happened, no matter what happened to you, no matter what the future holds.
Yeah, that's another thing too. You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the people who come after you to try to make things less chaotic and less difficult as they're trying to grieve.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what are the core documents or maybe first pieces that make up a really strong estate plan? Things most families should have in place early on.
I think that basically the four core documents, there are the four core documents, the four key documents. First is the revocable living trust, is the cornerstone for most families. It helps your asset pass smoothly to your loved ones without delay and the cost of the court invention. I often tell clients that trust is kind of like a basket. After you set it up, you need to fill it. The trust can only control those assets already titled under the name. If you don't fund this trust, this basket stays empty, and
Hmm.
that protection doesn't work as you intended. The second is the will, or called the last will and testament. Clients sometimes ask me, if I have a trust already, why do I still need a will? The estate planning, a trust and the will always go hand in hand. The will actually act as a safety net. It covers any asset that were not transferred into the trust, and to ensure those assets were distributed according to your wishes. It also the documents you can name the guardians for your minor children and outlines who will inherit your property. So the third one is the overpower attorney. We talked about trust is deal with the asset titled under the trust name, and the will only takes effect when you pass on. But when you're still living and lost the capacity, you will need a power attorney, which allows someone you trust to handle the financial and the legal affairs when you become unable to do it yourself. And the fourth one is the advanced healthcare directive, or the healthcare proxy. This one expresses your medical wishes, the end life decisions, and name the person who will make those decisions for you if you can't. And I cannot, Kevin, I cannot emphasize this enough. We're all living longer, and at some point, many of us will experience diminished capacity. Without
Hmm.
a very clear guidance, your loved one can be left in the emotional turmoil, unsure what you would have wanted. And that uncertainty sometimes can damage even the most loving relationships.
Yeah, emotional turmoil is a good way to put it. I mean, trying to put that decision in somebody's hands, yeah, that alone is a good enough reason to look at
Yeah,
your estate
especially
plan.
the end of life decisions.
Yeah,
Those can be very, very emotional and hard to
yeah,
determine if you don't have a very clear guidance.
yeah. You put that into place. You take that decision away from somebody to have to make, and that's a nice thing to do for people for sure. We've been talking about the financial aspects and some of the other stuff. Many families want the estate plan not just to reflect those finances, but also their personal values. How do you help clients make sure that their plan protects both?
Actually, this is the favorite part of what I do, because a great estate plan is really not just about distributing the wealth. It's really about carrying forward what matters the most to you. Um, so, Kevin, like I'm meeting my clients, I like to ask them, what are the values and lessons that you hope your children or your family wants to remember you about you? And that's really the heart of the plan. Some families focus on education. I'm coming from China. I know that the Chinese people very emphasize on education. They
Hmm.
want their children or grandchildren to have opportunity they probably never had. And we can design a trust that fund the higher education or professional growth. Others want to encourage the financial responsibility and the productivity. So we can create an incentive plan where the beneficiaries will be awarded for the certain achievement or reaching certain milestones in their life. And the other families, they care deeply about giving back. So we can include like charitable gifts, or establishing a family foundation, which aligns with their belief and their intent. So beyond the legal documents, we also worked on what I called is legacy pieces. These can be simple but very powerful. A letter to your loved ones, a family mission statement, or even just recorded stories about your life. And those words and memories often becomes the most cherished part of the plan. So I think your legacy is not defined by what you left behind. It's defined by what you can carry forward, what your family, your later generations can carry forward on your behalf. So
Hmm.
yes, we take care of the financial structures, but I like also make sure the emotion structures is there too. The stories, the intentions, that human touch that truly makes it a family plan, not just a bunch of legal documents.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And I think a lot of people will delay their planning, because it feels complicated or even uncomfortable. How do you help them move past that to start the process with confidence and not be thinking about sort of the negatives of what that brings up?
Yeah, well, I'm from, as I said, I'm from Chinese background. So, China talking about death is really bad luck. So,
Is it really? Oh, no.
yeah, it's really bad luck. You don't talk
And
about death,
this is what you got into. That's too funny.
That's when I started my business. When I start practicing the estate planning, that's often the kind of obstacle I encounter.
Sure.
You're bad luck. You're bad mouth. Why are you talking about this? Right now, I'm living well. I'm very much alive, right? Yeah, that's a real question. Um, yeah, I see that every day, and people don't avoid estate planning because they don't care. They avoid it because it's emotional, unknown, and sometimes it's overwhelming. And let's face it, no one gonna wake up and in the morning and say, "Huh, today I want to think about what happens when I'm gone," right?
Hmm.
Um, but here's the thing: estate planning is not about dying. It's about the living well and the living and the loving your family enough to protect them. Um, so I like to start with very simple questions. Who do you love? And what do you want to protect? Once you frame it that way, and that make the planning becomes a gift, not a burden anymore, then we can to take the one step at a time. We begin with the discovery, understand your family relationships, your family dynamics, and to understand what you own. And believe me, so many clients I've encountered, they said, "Oh, I don't really know. I own this much of asset." So you understand what you own, and what kind of obligations you have, and what are your goals. So once you have clarity on that end, state planning becomes kind of easy. Um, then we're gonna design the plan together, review it, finalize it. I call it designing a peace of mind. Once the people realize it's not about death, it's about clarity and the care, that discomfort most time will go away. I also like to remind my clients that is doesn't have to be perfect at first place. You can always refine your plans as your life changes. The most important thing is to start it. Um, so honestly, by the time we finish, most family will tell me, "Oh, such a relief! I wish I have done it sooner,"
Yeah.
because what once feels so heavy ends up feeling like a relief and a deep exhale.
Yeah, you feel like you've done something really good for your kids or whoever's coming after you. Yeah, it's got to feel great.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm. At what life stage should someone begin serious estate planning?
It can. It's a great question. It's honestly it's nothing about how much you own and how old you are. Some people think estate planning should be happening later in time, maybe after you retire or have significant asset. But the truth is, planning is isn't about your age or your wealth. It's about your responsibility, as we talked a bit before. So you really should, as soon as you have someone or something you care about, whether it's you're having a child, getting married, purchasing a home, or starting a business. And the moment you have people depending on you or the asset in your name, it's time to put a plan in place. And here's the thing, life doesn't just stand still. Your plan should evolve as your life evolves. I usually recommend reviewing it maybe every 3 to 5 years, or when something that's significant happened in your life, like a marriage, a divorce, a new baby, buying a new property, or moving to a new state. So those times, and of course, when the law changes, tax
Mm.
rules, inheritance laws, healthcare regulations. So when those things change, you definitely need to not, if you haven't started a plan, you definitely need to start a plan. And when those change, if you have a plan already, you need to review those plans to see if it still reflect your values, and what you intended. Um,
Hmm.
so think about it like maintaining your home or your car. You wouldn't build a house and purchase a house and never check on the roof, right? Um, so your estate plan is the same. It's a living, breathing kind of reflection of your life. Um, so reviewing your plan is really to keep it aligned with who you are now, not who you were like 5 or 10 years ago.
Living, breathing reflection of your life. I like that. That's good. That really kind of puts it into, puts the visual in there. What are some of the things that you've seen go kind of wrong, or what kind of misunderstandings do people have when they try to handle it on their own? Relying on online templates or websites.
That's a very important question, and that one comes up all the time. I think the biggest issue I see in people is simply don't know what they don't know about, right?
Yeah.
The online templates and the one size fits all can look very quick and inexpensive, but estate planning is not a fitting blank exercise. It's about strategy, it's about coordination, and it's about foresight. Those generic kind of documents can give you the kind of comprehensive guidance you actually need, like,
Mhm.
is your home title in your name or your trust? Will the transfer of the property into the trust affect your homeowner insurance policy? What if I want to refinance? What if the beneficiaries pass away before me, or goes through a divorce? How can I protect my children in that kind of situation? How can you make sure that your shares of property is still protected if your spouse remarried, after you're gone, or who steps in if the person you choose becomes unable to serve, or they disagree with each other. Those questions that cannot really fit in that one fit all the templates. Those templates will not provide those guidance and answers to those questions. I haven't seen cases where someone downloaded the trust online, signed it, and thought they were protected, but they never transferred the asset into that trust.
Mhm.
So when they passed away, the trust was empty. There's nothing in
It
there.
was useless.
It's useless.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the family still have to go through the probate. Um, exactly the things they're trying to avoid. And I also see the trust that technically worked, but the design just did not reflect the person's true intent, leaving the surviving spouse too much or too little powers to control the assets. And then their wills can contradict whatever the beneficiary they have designed, designated on their retirement account. Those mistakes and the mismatches can create enormous stress, expense, and the conflict for the loved ones. So, what people they do not realize is that estate planning is not about having those bunch of documents. It's about making sure that all those documents actually work together. It's what a professional guidance can be becomes very invaluable. So a good attorney is not that's not just fill out the forms. They design the plan that fits your life, coordinate your asset, and prepare for all those what ifs you
Hmm.
may not have considered. So, well, I completely understand the appeals of those online tools, and I appreciate what the AI can do for our us right now in our
Sure.
lives.
Yeah.
But estate planning is one of those areas. where it truly pays to do it right at the first time and with a human touch.
Hmm.
Because the cost of fixing those mistakes later, legally, financially, emotionally, is far greater than the cost of doing it properly from the start.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on our first episode of A State of Mind Law, Legacy, and Life with Sunny Rickard. To connect with Sunny and the team or learn more about creating a clear, personalized plan for your family's future, visit cyrlaws.com. And if you found this conversation helpful, please subscribe, leave us a review, share it with anybody you think could get use out of it, because we got lots of great information coming your way in the future. Sunny, I really enjoyed getting to know you, and I look forward to chatting again in the future.
Thank you very much, Kevin. See you later.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.